Hey there, Simone here with Bulletproof Business Growth, as always, with some ideas and insights what to really pay attention to when you're growing and scaling your business. So today we're going to dive deeper on something that we started last week. We talked about how not making decisions keeps you stuck absolutely everywhere. And in my experience working with entrepreneurs and small business owners for the last 15, 18 years now, not making decisions and being stuck in that analysis paralysis is one of the highest costs that business owners face. So when we look at, diving deeper into this, avoiding hard decisions, it's generally from fear of doing something wrong, of being wrong and making the decisions, so we don't make a decision at all. So last week, we started this and we talked about that this tendency of avoiding making those hard decisions is what's keeping you stuck on kind of this hamster wheel instead of being able to truly act as the CEO of your business, where you live in strategy, you live in growth, where you expand the vision, where you're forward moving and you're doing all the things that your business and your team really needs you to do because you're second guessing yourself. You don't have the confidence. Maybe at some point in the past you made a wrong decision and that's now what you're stuck to, and you're really creating your future from your past, which is never good. So especially when you're looking for creating bigger results, can't ever create bigger results with the same habits from the past, right? So many of our business owner clients are pretty worn out from just simply wearing too many hats. And at the same time, they're expecting too little from the team that they already have. The common assumption is that to get different results, I need different people. Or I need to be a totally different person. I need to hire a CEO. Or I need to hire up and hire this like COO or this person who is our manager of everything, right? Our people manager. But the truth is, what's keeping you stuck the most and what's avoiding your team to be able to show up at the level that they need to is that you have created this codependent relationship because it is all on you. It is in a place where you feel like if you don't make the decision, nobody is, but it creates this codependent setup, this codependent relationship where you become the hub for everything. You're the hub of all information. You're the hub of all decisions. Everything goes through you. So that also means that they're dependent on you for fixing everything, for squelching all the fires, for solving all the problems, for giving them everything that they need to do anything. So that means that you now are in a place where you have no bandwidth for anything but that. So you're probably not doing any long-term planning. You're probably not looking at how to expand your vision. You're probably not being proactive because you're constantly stuck in this reactive way of being. So that means you're 100% trapped in working in your business, basically as an employee of your business versus being the CEO who can expand strategy and make bigger moves. So actually working on your business, right? That in business versus on business, it just gets us over and over and over. So this is also it's a little bit of a interesting spot because this also means you're staying in your comfort zone. And the funny part is it's not comfortable. I know it's anything but comfortable. But it's what you know, and that has more draw. That's like where your habit gravity is versus that scary unknown place where you don't know what's going to happen. And because you don't know what's going to happen, you avoid that at all costs. You'd rather stay in the uncomfortable comfort zone versus going into the the crazy unknown, right? And for most of us, that means we avoid conflict. We avoid decisions. And, the weird thing is the conflict, avoiding decisions is avoiding conflict. But it's not, you might think I'm a little crazy here because of the way I'm saying that, but it's not the conflict with another person. This is the conflict within yourself. It's the pressure that you're feeling to make a decision that you know should be made, but you don't want to make it. You're afraid to make it. So you have all this brawl going on inside of you. So you rather don't do it at all, because what you're feeling here is you're thinking about all the what if it's not going to work. There's like all the what ifs are compounding, are stacking. So you're just all in that space of what it's not going to work. So instead, you don't make a decision at all because you're so stuck in thinking like that. And that means everything stagnates. And I'm going to say, if that's the way you operate in business, that's probably also how you operate in the rest of your life. Or if that's how you operate in the rest of your life, that's how you operate in business. So it's honestly just a really bad habit that got built at some point because maybe something didn't go right and you decided that no more. So now you're just going to sit and think about it and think about it and think about it instead of actually moving forward. So I get it. The buck stops with you all the time. You are the owner. You are the last person who has the say. But just think about this. Your fear is you're making this wrong move, and that's going to cost you time, money, energy, and a little bit of your sanity. But not deciding has exponentially higher cost than deciding, because your loss is so much greater when you're not moving forward. And it is the root of feeling stuck, feeling tired, feeling unmotivated, feeling not worthy, feeling not confident to make any other bigger decisions in your business. So what we really need to look at is flipping that whole scenario where you're not in a place anymore where analysis replaces action, because that's what we want to get rid of. So we want to be done with the endless back and forth. We want to let go of all the what ifs, because it basically means when you have no resolution that all your what ifs are keeping you in one place. So that means opportunities are fading while you're waiting this, and you keep confusing yourself more and more and more. And then, of course, you're confusing yourself. You're not making any decisions. Guess what? Your team is watching all this. So the impact here is that your team gets conditioned to seek permission for everything they could possibly do. I mean, have you ever felt that way when you have people who they know what you're doing, but they're coming to you with every little thing. They're asking for permission. They're asking for approval for every little thing. And you're like, why are they not making this decision? I know they could. But it's because they have been modeling you. So this is kind of what you really want them to do is taking ownership. You want them to act. You want them to make independent decisions, especially when you know they can. But they don't have the confidence to do it, just like you. So when that is the case, right? When you have a team that is so dependent on you, that means that your days are being sucked up by being the hub for all informations, for all decisions. You're constantly fighting fires versus working on strategy and improvement to prevent the even bigger ones. So instead of improving systems to avoid fires going forward, you're just in that never-ending cycle of going with the same way you've been. And actually, you're not going anywhere fast. So this, of course, leaves you completely exhausted, tired, unmotivated, because you don't have any white space to be creative, to come up with expansion. You got to have headspace, right? You got to have that emptiness in your brain that actually allows you to create. So you can't create, you can't be innovative, you can't come up with strategy because your head is full of all this stuff that's cycling around here. So the secret really to escape this trap is pretty easy. You have to make decisions. And you have to just come to the agreement with yourself that making imperfect decisions is fine, that it's better than not making the decision. So this allows you to make that more of a constant, right? Because you want to be constant, you want to be decisive, you want to be consistent. You don't want to allow yourself not making a decision. So this is like a practice, because think about this. You've been conditioning this other bad habit that's been costing you and costing you and costing you for so long. And then here's this new thing that you're trying out. So unless you do it consistently and you start small and you compound that little by little, you're not going to get the strength that you had on the other side. So it's just kind of like, going to the gym. You're not going to lift that 100-pound kettlebell on day one, but unless you start with smaller weights and you keep stepping it up and you're consistent about it, you're not going to get to that next level that you're really looking for. So we need to be constant. We need to be consistent. We can't allow ourselves not to move forward. So it's just like the kettlebell thing. You start by running low risk tests. So you can see that you can actually do it. And when it's low risk, man, if you fail, it's okay. Just set yourself up with something where the risk of failure is not enormous. But what that will do is you will learn to trust your gut, to trust your instincts, to gain the experience that you need to make those bigger decisions. Because each choice you're making, each decision that you're making gives you momentum, it gives you energy, it helps you to get into action, which means it will help you to expand and gain that perspective that you really need to keep leaning in more and step up even more. So it is really time for you to shift your day-to-day operations to your team. That's like the first step to freedom, is to take all that is keeping you bogged down all day, that keeps you spinning, and start shifting that to your team. Now, of course, you have to have a team that can actually do that. But here's the caveat, or actually like the really great thing. Many of you have way better people on your team than you think, because you haven't given them the opportunity, the clarity, and the tools that they need to step up at a higher level. So you have to decide to make some specific short-term decisions. You're going to start with the easy stuff. You're going to start shifting over like some tangible stuff with clear directions, like the role, whatever it is that they need to take on in terms of projects. So giving clear direction about the role, about the projects, helps them understand what the objectives are here, the goals, the expectations, and then you can let go and let them and show up as their coach versus the person who's always doing everything. So this is really shifting your identity as a leader and making decisions, and making the decision to let your team is the number one decision that gets you there. But the important part of this is you have to give them clarity on priorities. You have to be consistent with them, right? And it doesn't end with giving them the clarity of priorities. Now it means you actually have to start checking in on them, not checking up on them, but checking in on them to support them, to coach them, to help them gain the confidence that you've been taking them from them in the past year. So you have to gain confidence, they have to gain confidence, and you do that by being specific and having clear, proactive ways of moving forward, and then measuring if it's actually working and checking in and being on top in the beginning to make sure that everybody has what they need to even make better decisions. So that means you'll stay on track, you're consistent, that means your team feels empowered, they feel like they can move forward, they can contribute at a higher level, and that means you now have the time and the bandwidth to be strategic, to work on growth, to create more efficient and effective systems. So that means you can actually level up, which is what you've been looking for. So leveling up, that means your trajectory transforms exponentially. So the bottom line here is to start making these decisions in an incremental, consistent way, where your smaller decisions start compounding, which means your momentum is compounding, which is what you're looking for. So, and you just have to wrap your mind around that perfect decisions keep you perfectly planted. So we've got to get rid of this idea of perfection and move forward with imperfect action that is open up the world. That is going to open up the world for us. So the great thing about that is this helps you to build the confidence that you learn to say yes, and that you learn to make this decision. And even when those decisions are wrong, you learn from it. And that means you are driving better results next time. And even when you're going through this learning process, this is still much better than perpetual hesitation. So it is time to really shift from this reactive mode to being proactive, to invite your team in and give them the tools. You can start with those low risk, smaller decisions, but you have to start passing them on to your team so that they gain the confidence the same way you're doing it. And here's the deal. Now you're going to have all this newfound time, this newfound bandwidth. And you have to protect that like gold, that it doesn't just disappear in the cracks, because it will. So you have to protect that so that you can really focus with that time on moving strategy versus this endless cycling that you've been doing before. So that means everything will get done faster, you get to accelerate, and that means you get to feel a lot more energy in your business. So I hope this helps. We have a brand new training out there that covers all this in detail. Go to bulletproofbusinessgrowth.com/leap, bulletproofbusinessgrowth.com/leap. Check out the training, and I will see you next time.